There's a quiet trap that most people never escape. It doesn't shout. It doesn't hurt. It feels good, too good. It's warm, predictable, soft around the edges. It's called comfort. And the strange thing is, you don't even notice when it begins to own you. At first, it's harmless. You deserve a break. You've worked hard. You tell yourself you'll rest just for a bit. You'll start again when you feel ready. But ready never comes. The mind always finds a reason to stay still. Days blend into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly you're not living anymore. You're maintaining. The addiction to comfort doesn't hit like a storm. It seeps in like fog. It replaces hunger with hesitation, discipline with dopamine. It whispers, why try so hard when you can just be? But here's the cruel truth. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you teach your mind that ease is safer than evolution. And the brain listens. It rewires itself. You lose your edge, not because you're weak, but because you stopped sharpening the blade. Comfort slowly erodes the sense of urgency. It kills that sacred restlessness, the fire that pushes you toward more. And soon you start convincing yourself that you never wanted the dream that much anyway. Addiction to comfort is worse than any physical cage because it feels like freedom. You move, you scroll, you laugh, you eat, but deep down there's an ache. A quiet knowing that you're capable of more, but too numb to chase it. That ache? It's your potential suffocating. The human mind wasn't built for ease. It was built for adaptation. You grow through friction, not softness. Every meaningful thing in your life, courage, love, mastery, strength, was born in the presence of discomfort. Yet here we are, living in an era where pain is the enemy. We avoid silence because it's uncomfortable. We avoid failure because it's uncomfortable. We avoid effort because it's uncomfortable, but you cannot escape discomfort. You can only choose its form, the discomfort of discipline or the discomfort of regret. Society loves to romanticize balance. Work a little, rest a little, and you'll be fine. But balance, in truth, is not a place, it's a rhythm. And most people mistake stagnation for peace. There's a difference between rest and escape. Rest regenerates you. Escape erases you. When you rest, you face life again with sharper eyes. When you escape, you dull your senses until nothing moves you anymore. Comfort becomes the drug that keeps you sedated while life quietly passes you by. You stop chasing what excites you and start collecting distractions to keep yourself busy. You tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow doesn't come. It never does. The universe doesn't reward intentions. It rewards motion. Comfort teaches you to overthink instead of act, to plan instead of execute. It convinces you that perfection is more important than progress. And soon you're paralyzed by possibilities, doing nothing while time eats away at your ambition. The greatest thief of potential isn't failure, it's waiting for the perfect moment. And so the comfortable life becomes a graveyard of unlived dreams. Think back to a time when you were hungry, truly hungry for something. When you felt that electric pull toward your purpose. You didn't care how hard it would be. You just knew you needed to try. That fire wasn't just emotion. It was energy, the raw force of life moving through you. It's the same force that drives nature to evolve. The same force that makes stars burn until they collapse into light. But comfort numbs that current. It turns fire into smoke. You lose that inner voice that once whispered, there's more for you than this. And here's the painful truth. If you don't honor that voice, it stops speaking. The universe doesn't keep calling someone who never answers. Every time you step into discomfort, you come closer to who you really are. Because discomfort strips away illusion. It shows you the truth of what you're made of. Pain isn't the enemy. It's the compass. It points you toward the areas that still need to grow. That's why the people who truly transform are never the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who walked through fire and came out carved by it. The pain they endured became the structure of their power, and what once hurt them now moves them. You don't break your addiction to comfort by by hating it. You break it by understanding it, by realizing that comfort itself isn't evil, it's just seductive. The goal isn't to live without comfort. It's to earn it. Rest should feel like a reward, not a lifestyle. Silence should feel like clarity, not avoidance. And peace should come after movement, not instead of it. When you earn comfort through growth, it nourishes you. When you take comfort without effort, it drains you. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice. To chase the high of comfort, or to chase the satisfaction of becoming more. One fades the moment you feel it. The other stays long after you've struggled for it. There will come a day when you realize you've been asleep. When the endless scrolling, the overthinking, the waiting, it all feels heavy. And something inside you snaps. That's the awakening. The moment you stop negotiating with your potential. You look around and see that everyone is addicted to ease. But you're tired of it. You want something real, something earned, so you take the first uncomfortable step. And the moment you do, life notices. It begins to move again through you, around you. Synchronicities appear. Energy returns. The world opens its gates, not because it's easier now, but because you're finally in motion. There's a moment in everyone's life when the silence becomes too loud, when the comfort you've been bathing in starts to suffocate instead of soothe, when every easy choice starts to feel like slow poison. That's when you realize comfort isn't peace. It's paralysis disguised as calm. And in that instant of awakening, no matter how small, something ancient stirs inside you. A faint reminder of what it feels like to be alive. It starts quietly. You start noticing how dull your world has become. You scroll, but nothing excites you. You rest, but never feel rested. You smile, but the joy doesn't last. You realize the problem isn't the world. It's you, too still, too safe, too comfortable. So you move. Not perfectly, not gracefully, but deliberately. The first steps are always ugly. Discipline is never aesthetic at the beginning. It's messy. It's awkward. It's painful, because you're fighting the very gravity that's kept you in place for years. But here's the thing. The moment you move, life responds. You'll feel resistance, and that's proof you're alive again. Because only moving bodies feel friction. The pain you feel is not punishment. It's confirmation. It's your muscles remembering what strength feels like. Your soul remembering what purpose feels like. Breaking your addiction to comfort isn't about forcing yourself into constant struggle. It's about changing your relationship with effort. Your brain has learned that ease equals safety, so you must teach it that effort equals expansion. Every time you choose discomfort, waking early, starting the task, speaking the truth, you're not just acting differently, you're rewiring your nervous system. You're proving to your mind that discomfort won't kill you. That fear doesn't mean stop. It means grow. And over time, something profound happens. You stop craving comfort altogether. You begin to crave clarity. You begin to crave momentum. You begin to crave the feeling of becoming. Because the more you move, the more alive you feel. And suddenly, comfort feels like decay again, just as it should. People wait for motivation, like it's a divine spark. But motivation doesn't come before action, it comes after. The act of doing creates the energy to keep doing. That's why the hardest part is always the beginning. You'll never feel ready, but readiness is a lie created by comfort. If you waited until you felt prepared for life, you'd die waiting. You prepare through the doing, not before it. The confidence you're searching for isn't found in books or affirmations. It's found in the silent repetition of showing up. Each time you show up, you reclaim a piece of yourself that comfort took away. Growth and stillness are not enemies, they're partners in rhythm. One teaches you movement, the other teaches you meaning. When you work hard, you break yourself open. When you rest after effort, you rebuild yourself stronger. That's the real balance, not in the middle, but in the dance. If you only push, you burn out. If you only rest, you rust. But when you move with rhythm, when you give your energy somewhere to go, you start living in harmony with the pulse of life itself. And that's when everything changes. Because suddenly discomfort isn't pain, it's music. It has a beat. It has purpose. And every challenge becomes a note in the song of your evolution. Look at yourself honestly, not as you appear, but as you are. Ask yourself, what version of me am I feeding? Because every day you're feeding something, the part that wants ease or the part that wants excellence. And whichever one you feed grows. You already know what comfort gives you, short-term pleasure, long-term emptiness. But discomfort? It gives you the opposite. Short-term pain, long-term power. The question is, which timeline do you want to live in? You can either suffer now for growth or suffer later for regret. Either way, pain will find you. But only one form of pain sets you free. Discipline isn't punishment. It's protection. It protects you from the pull of comfort that keeps everyone ordinary. When you commit to something, when you decide you will act whether you feel like it or not, you remove half of life's chaos. Because you stop negotiating with your mind every morning. You stop asking, do I feel ready? You already decided. And that's what discipline really is, the death of indecision and the birth of peace. When you stop being controlled by what you feel like doing, you start being guided by what you're meant to do. That's freedom. Not the freedom of doing anything, but the freedom of not being a slave to your moods. Comfort tells you freedom means having no rules. But real freedom is the opposite. It's found in self-control. A mind without discipline is like a wild horse. It runs in circles, exhausting itself, mistaking movement for progress. But when you learn to direct that energy, to hold focus, to say no, to move forward when it's easier to hide, you don't lose freedom, you earn it. You become dangerous in the best way possible, because now you can channel your chaos into creation. The world respects those who move with intention. It follows those who can walk through resistance with grace. That's the kind of freedom you're here to learn. Not comfort's numbness, but clarity's fire. Once you start embracing discomfort, something magical happens, your internal dialogue changes. You stop saying, I can't. You start saying, I can, but it will hurt, and I'll do it anyway. That shift changes everything. You stop waiting for life to hand you strength and start earning it. Every repetition, every rejection, every hard choice, they become sparks. And before you know it, you've built your fire again. This time it doesn't burn out, because it's no longer made of excitement. It's made of endurance. That's the kind of fire that can walk through years of uncertainty and still glow. The kind that no failure can extinguish. There's a quiet moment that comes after the struggle, when you look back and realize that the person who started the journey doesn't exist anymore. You've outgrown the version of you that feared discomfort. You've shed the layer that needed validation. You've become something sharper, steadier, and infinitely freer. You don't chase comfort anymore because you've tasted something deeper, aliveness. And the truth is, that's all we ever wanted. Not happiness, not perfection, just the electric pulse of being alive, moving, becoming. One day, you'll wake up and realize the life you dreamed of was never behind comfort, it was behind courage. You'll realize that every great thing you ever wanted, love, purpose, strength, mastery, was waiting for you on the other side of resistance. And you'll smile, not because it was easy, but because you finally understand the secret. That discomfort was never the enemy. It was the doorway. Every act of courage you took, every hard choice you made, they weren't punishments. They were invitations, each one saying, come closer. There's more of you to discover. So this is your moment, your invitation to rise, not in anger, not in haste, but in quiet, steady defiance. To stop waiting for comfort to give you permission. To stop waiting for perfect conditions. Move, even if it's small. Even if it's just one action, one choice, one brave breath. Because the universe doesn't respond to thoughts, it responds to motion. And the moment you move, Energy moves with you. You don't need to burn the whole world down to start over. You just need to take one step and mean it at the end of your life. No one will remember how comfortable you were. They'll remember the moments you rose when you didn't have to. The times you stood up, spoke truth, and kept going when it hurt. Because that's the story of every human who ever lived fully. They learned to dance with discomfort instead of running from it. And in doing so, they became something more than human. They became awake. So here you are, standing at the edge of comfort, staring into the unknown. Your mind will beg you to go back. It will tell you it's too hard, too risky, too late. But you already know the truth. You've seen what staying still costs. You've felt the ache of unrealized potential. So go. Step into the fire, not to be burned, but to be born. And when it hurts, smile. Because pain is proof that you're evolving, that you're no longer trapped in comfort's illusion. You're alive again, and that's everything.